All right, guys. This is my recap. You can see my dog right behind me. Look at that. This is my trade recap for today. We pretty much just hit on Top Step for 600, close to 600. We blew the combine before the previous one, and then that was like the no activation one. And I bought one with an activation because it was cheaper. And I was like, you know what? If I can't pass these no activation ones, I'm just running their balance up. I might as well just start, going back to what I originally did was just go for the $50 ones and then keep them. I still haven't traded the other two Express accounts recently. I've just been pretty much just trying to trade combines. I even told myself I wouldn't trade this week, but I ended up trading today, which is really, really unfortunate. That led to a bad start, forcing setups in the morning. So we're going to, I closed the other account already too. I'm not gonna lie, I closed and canceled it. I was like, all right, I'm done with this shit. And then I bought another one and I traded it. And I was like, all right, we're back in the game. But tomorrow is pretty much FOMC meeting minutes, and then we have New Year's bank holidays basically, and then next week is pretty much really the first week back in the in the office. So pretty much here for this trade, we took a long off this 5-minute IFVG. Once this candle closed above, we entered, and then eventually we just rode it all the way up. We wanted to see this left open as a breakaway gap to then eventually continue displacing. Originally, my target was the balance price range. I can't keep grabbing the wrong one. The balance price range, that was originally the target, but I got greedy. I was aiming for a little bit more, and that's kind of where I got a little bit more punished, I should say, because again, we could have taken that good TP, and that would have led us to reaching around 1300, 1200, minimum for the take profit, and just being closer to being past, like halfway there. So now we're here, we're just like close to 1%. So now we have to have like 2 good trades, 3 good trades, risking 0.5%. So let's go over here. Let's go on this chart. Let's show you guys my bias real quick for today. My bias today, I was originally more bullish than bearish for some reason, but on the daily time frame, we do have daily bearish SMT, as you can see here with ES. So that's kind of a reason why we were bearish going into today, though. I didn't really see that. I didn't really spot it until later throughout the day. You look at this 4-hour. We thought this 4-hour was going to be a sweep, push up. Don't pattern trade, guys. This might be the sweep in them. But yeah, today's PA was really, really crazy. You can see here on the 1-hour, we also had this candle range low sweep. On the 1-hour, we did also have, this, buy side objective inside of this 1-hour CIBI. We were yet to make this inverse. This was like the ultimate market maker buy model high to target. And then on the 30-minute time frame, again, meeting this buy side objective, we also had 30-minute CRT with a 30-minute CIBI, which was yet to get inverse here, as you can see. And then eventually did get inverse at 10 o'clock, and it failed to continue displacing. Then the market started to dump, which is totally fine here. But again, this is where we caught this trade right here. Once the market went up, it came back down. I originally was looking for longs inside this retracement, but we just never really got a clear IFVG, down over here. Even though this was good, I won't lie, it was weak though. Wasn't really displacing. Same thing with this one. I took this one, I think, on the previous combine, and I got punished basically. So I got punished on this one. The market came back down, stopped me out. And then we continued displacing, and then eventually once we started to displace higher, I got in, and then the market started to displace. And yeah, it was pretty unfortunate. I did take shorts for my first trade. I entered around here, and then the market came back up. I was still in the trade. My stop loss was originally up here, but then eventually came back down, and then it started stalling back up, and I just closed the position for a net loss. And that was the first trade. I took a short, and yeah, that was pretty much like we lost around 200 to 300. And then the second trade on this one, that's kind of where we blew the account. And I was taking something on YM. I can't recall, but I think I was taking longs, even though the market was clearly bearish. So, or I think it was ES. It wasn't YM. I know YM was, I believe it was ES. So I was taking longs on ES for sure also. I just don't know. I remember being on ES and taking 3 cons, so I just can't remember. This is why it's so crucial to journal and like actually have your trades pan. Let's go look at let's see if we have them on EMES saved. No, we don't. So we don't have the charting saved, but I know I took some trades over here and I got stopped out, and that's kind of where we blew the other account. But yeah, this is only one trade. I locked myself out of there, and again, I really didn't follow the rules. I would want to punish myself, but I told myself, for this week, I shouldn't have been trading anyways. So I'll probably punish myself later throughout the week. If I'm being truly honest, I'll probably have to delay it for a little bit and then punish myself, because I got to deal with some stuff before that, and then eventually I'll be in a good condition to, basically run 5 miles or fast all day, or do like some extreme, very hard task mentally, and make sure I don't break my rules. But either way, I think I keep doing it because, again, I'm on a combine and I don't fear it enough of like not following my rules, unless I'm on an express and I can actually lose money, but it doesn't make sense. You're losing money either way if you're trading on a combine, since you bought the account. And then for the express, if you have to activate it, you've lost even more money until you get a payout and you make the ROI back. But that was really it, bro. Like, today's bias was a lot more difficult than it should have been, honestly. I was originally, again, bullish, looking for longs. ES, though, swept these highs. NQ never did. So we had bearish SMT there. And then on the 1 hour, we also had SMT at these highs. Well, because look, if YM never swept these highs right there, which it never did, we could have looked for, if this also swept it and came back down, then swept the lows, that's when we could have looked for longs. But we didn't have that. So once the market started pushing up, I kind of realized, like, either this is going to be a Judas swing, or we're going to continue displacing, retrace, and then continue higher. But that never really happened. And then eventually you can see here what we retraced, pushed up, we swept the lows, and then we retraced back up into the bearish PD arrays to then push down lower. And I think we should have looked for longs. I mean, shorts today. We should have kept that short bias, even though the daily time frame, we are, extremely bullish and not really want to be shorting in a bull market. But the setup was clear here. It looked like a clear bearish setup. This is all your Judas swing to then push down lower. But again, it was way too late to realize, and we were already in long. So that's kind of why I was trailing my stop loss a little bit tight here today. So yeah, I trailed my stop loss at this red line right here. And once the market reached that, and that's kind of where I got stopped out. And I was like, all right, I'm willing to take a $600 loss. I'm willing to leave this, 5-minute fair value up unfilled. We're back and forth, back and forth. I don't like this PA. I'd rather sit on the sidelines, and that's kind of, I'm kind of glad I did that, because, again, I would have been sitting through this to then eventually get stopped out, to then eventually, it's just not worth it. I'd rather trail the stop, not micromanage it, but manage it pretty well. So, yeah, the 5-minute looked really, really heavy bullish. I thought, if we continue this place above here, likely going to reach for this, and I don't want to be in the market. I want to, because, again, we can probably wick that, take profit, and then eventually come back down and close and move down lower. So, again, just trying to play it safe here. But that was pretty much really the trade recap. I'm not really trying to trade for the rest of the week. The volume is not really there. The market is not really moving as much. But I'm still going to show up and watch it, because, again, it can prove me wrong. So, yeah.